If there was any title that I would give to Imam al-Shafi'i, it would be my choice of the encyclopedist. Encyclopedist. In the encyclopedia you'll find information about almost anything, and explains almost everything and anything. And his knowledge, different to the other Imams, was almost in every area and every subject that you can know about. As for Imam Shafi'i's gift, he had a gift of memory. Now all the ulama had this gift, but Imam Shafi'i, he was the pinnacle of this. He stood out in memory. As I said, he memorized the Quran at 7. He was a poet at 10, a reference poet at 10. And as I said, he memorized the Muwatta at 10 or 13 years of age, with all the chain of narrators and the sayings of the companions and so on and so forth, word by word, letter by letter. He read the Quran every single day of his life. It is said that he read the whole Quran every day. And it's not an exaggeration. Allahu A'lam, maybe the time in those days, in that first 300 years after the Prophet ﷺ, there was barakah in the time, some scholars say. He had an uncle who was a scholar. And in those days, they all learned this thing called farasa, ilm al-farasa. It's a science of looking at a person, and from their features, you are able to see signs of particular qualities in the person. And at the age of about 10 or 11, he says to him, "Son, I see brilliance and intelligence in you." Brothers and sisters, there's something really interesting to know. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal considered Imam al-Shafi'i as what we call mujaddid. He said, Imam al-Shafi'i mujaddid al-mi'atu thaniya. He is the reformer of the second 100 years. There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ which is sahih. He said every 100 years, every century, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings about someone to reform this deen, to take the people back to the original teachings of the Prophet ﷺ. People go lost, so instead of sending a prophet, he sends a alim that brings these people back. And the scholars agree that the first mujaddid after the Prophet ﷺ in his first century was none other than the Khalifa Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. The second mujaddid, in the view of many scholars including Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, it was Imam al-Shafi'i. Some people got jealous of Imam al-Shafi'i. Imam Ahmad's son Abdullah asked his father one time about Imam al-Shafi'i's views, and his father said, "Son, anyone reaching the caliber of Imam al-Shafi'i will accuse him of what he is not." The students of Imam Malik became extreme in their following of Imam Malik, and after he died, Imam al-Shafi'i found that people were saying "Qala Rasulullah," and the others would say "Qala al-Imam Malik." They would say, "But Imam Malik said, and he knows about the Prophet more than you," even though something was clear. So Imam al-Shafi'i wanted to draw a line, came up with the book, and he wrote evidence against some of the errors of his teachers. Because of this, and because of all these different accusations, and because Imam al-Shafi'i became the top in the world in his time, Imam Malik's students, and this is a problem, they hated him a lot, and they waited for him when he was delivering a dars in the masjid in Yemen. They entered upon him, and after he finished his lesson, they attacked him and they beat him until he became unconscious. He died a few days later. Now the scholars say he didn't die directly from the wounds. So they don't say he was murdered by his students, but he had another disease, another illness, that when he got beaten up, it exacerbated, it made it worse, and then he died. He stayed in his own, he died there. But as a result of that beating up by the students of his great Imam and great master. We call this, there's a word called paradox. Have you ever heard of that word? Paradox. If you fill the cup too much and it spills over, no one likes that. If you have food and you add too much salt in it, it tastes nice with salt. But if you put a kilo of salt in it, the food is ruined. If you put no salt at all, can't taste it. So anything that goes to extremes becomes, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, corrupt and destruction.